What's going on YouTube? Heylow here, bringing you an all-new Total War Warhammer 2 3v3 matchup. So today, Team XMT is going to be taking on a group of 3 in ladder, and let's dive in. So for myself, I will be playing High Elves. My lord is going to be Ilario the Radiant, and we are going to have 2 nobles on their chariots here to support. Our front line is going to consist entirely of White Lions, with the Pure Main Company there to support as well. And our back line is going to be an entire string of archers. So Halcon and I were goofing off here a little bit and kind of memeing, and we did a 6-2-6 build each. So I have 6 White Lions, 6 archers, 2 heroes. And Halcon over here playing the Beastman, he is also 6-2-6ing. So he's got 6 Ungor Raiders, he's got 6 Bestigor up in the back, and then he's going to have Kazrak and his Bray Shaman as his hero options. And lastly, we're going to have DimmyGee, the champ himself. He's going to be rolling up with Norska, and he is bringing the Monster Mash. He is going to have Wolfric the Wanderer on his Mammoth, and then he's going to have a whole line of Fimir warriors with great weapons, some Skin Wolves, and 3 different units of Marauder Chariots. And he's going to have a Shaman Lore of Sorcerer, Shaman Sorcerer Lore of Fire. So yeah, kind of a whole gaggle of meme shenanigans going on over here. So for the opponents, the Dawi, going to be bringing some Bugman's Rangers and a Bolt Thrower. His line is going to consist of Dwarf Warriors and the Grumbling Guard. His back line will consist of some Hammerers with rank 4 Chevrons, Slayers, and some more Bugman's Rangers. He has a little bit of a flank deployment with another Bolt Thrower, supported by some Hidden Slayers, and then the Greenskins are over here to support as well. So those guys, they're going to have their Orc-Boar Biggins over there to back up the Dawi flank. And then his main blob formation is going to consist of a big line of Black Orcs supported by some Night Goblins. So pretty beefy line here, some Poison Infantry to back him up. And he's going to have Grimgor Ironhide sitting in here with his infantry. And out here on the left flank, he's going to have another 2 units of Orc Boar Boys to support the Coast Army, which is going to be Count Noctilus, a Necrofex, a whole line of Deckhand Mob Polearms, the Black Spot, and 2 Deck Droppers with handguns. So let's get moving here. Turns out Halcon also has this Chaos Warhounds in the back. But basically our entire formation, we've got all of our AP infantry right up front, our archers here to support that, and then Dimmy is going to be running around with his monsters. He's got the AP Anti-Large, he's got the Mammoth, and Chariots. He's going to be our mobility coming in to support the engagements where he sees fit. So right off the bat, Norska and the Beastmen are going to orient to the left flank, and they're going to start going after this coast position on the hill, and I am going to be pretty much squaring up with the Dawi here, going head-to-head. My Chariots are going to be pushing up to try and soak up some of the Skirmisher fire and get him to burn some ammo. We're going to be pushing straight after this Bolt Thrower, and we're going to go try and shut that down right off the bat. Our White Lions coming in for a nice wide enveloping flank because I figured there might be some stuff in the woods here, and we do end up spotting the Slayers, but I didn't want to fully commit here and then get outflanked. So the Warhounds coming through the back line, getting into the Bolt Throwers, my Chariots coming in as well to shut that down. Frontline engagement, all of the archers are just dropping their fire onto his Skirmishers and Bolt Thrower. But out here on the left flank, the Bestigors have charged in. They have pretty much busted the front line of this coast deckhand polearm blob, essentially. Some depth guard with polearms there, going to get run through. They're not really going to hold well against the Bestigor. The Bestigor have very, very good charge bonuses. But yeah, the Ungor Raiders here are going to be dropping a nice solid amount of skirmishing overhead fire, taking out some of the Boar Boys. And yeah, pretty solid over here, pretty solid. They've pretty well collapsed the coast, but now we're running an issue here where the Greenskin Horde is going to be rushing out to meet us. They are blobbing in here to try and take down some of these Fimir, the Bray Shaman, and some more Bestigor in the center. And we're running into an issue here where we've ended up very separated. So like my teammates have ended up on the left flank, and I am isolated alone on the right, which isn't a huge issue because all in all, I'm doing pretty well here. I'm taking the Dawi down 1 peg at a time, trying to take the Lord out, but Ilario ends up taking a bit of a beating there, getting a little stuck up in combat. We've managed to collapse his right flank, and we are going for a little bit of an envelopment. Our Skirmishers doing a very good job of just picking targets off while our White Lions go in and tie things down. The central area here, some night goblins are off chasing after some of our skirmishers, so I am reorienting to support that so we can get re-engaged. The central big greenskin blob is doing very well though and winning the engagements against these Bestigor. They are being a bit overwhelmed. Fortunately on this left flank, Wolfric has punched through the line with his skin wolves and the Fimir, and they are doing some work isolating these big coast targets, and they're going to be going after Noctilus and the Necrofex in a moment here. Black spot going to be getting shut down soon as well. So yeah, all in all, the left flank has been pretty mopped up. Just have to finish off the coast's more expensive units. Fireball going in on Noctilus, doing a nice chunk of damage. But yeah, this blob against the greenskins is starting to turn back into our favor as Halcon is able to pull his Bestigors and Ungor Raiders into a supporting position here for this engagement and start trying to focus down Grimgor and take out this Black Orc blob. A nice burning head going down from Dimmy as he cuts down the line and takes out some of that Night Goblin support infantry, which is going to leave the Black Orcs alone in those engagements against the Bestigors. But back here, some Dwarf Warriors do end up catching my archers and compromising them, but we are going to turn about and start supporting with that, and Dimmy is going to be coming around with his Bray Shaman to come back me up and try and take out some of these isolated units back here that are harassing our skirmishers, which is very, very useful. So more of our infantry rallies, and all in all on this right flank, we're doing okay. We're pretty much wrapping up most of the engagement here. All that's really left is the Slayer and like Grumly Guard, Dwarf Warrior blob, and we do have a pretty solid amount of ammo left. We're going to continue to drop our skirmishing fire. The Pure Main Company doing an excellent job of providing that armor sunder against multiple targets over here. So a lot of these Dwarf Warriors getting dropped down from their very high standard armor value to a little bit lower. Makes our archers a little more capable of doing some decent damage. So now that they are nice and blobbed up, our skirmishers are going to be dumping their shots in on them. And we're going to be doing a decent job here. But Rune of Oath and Steel pops, and that is going to be providing tons of armor value to these guys. 150 on the Runesmith, but Star of Avalorn is going to go down to try and keep the Pure Main Company in the fight and give us an opportunity to isolate Belegar there, get Alariel out of combat, and let the nobles do their work and continue to cycle through and get stuck on each other, of course. But trying to bust up these flanks here and pick off the isolated units that we can find. His skirmishers pretty much shut down. More White Lions coming in to support now that their engagements have been won. And then, yeah, Halcon over here has some of his support units coming in. The Bray Shaman, his skirmishers have managed to wrap things up. The central engagement has been won out. The Fimir doing a very good job of wrapping up some of those Black Orcs with Wolfric's help once he comes in. The Summon Manticore doing some work as well. And yeah, at this point, it's pretty much just blob around Noctilus and try and take him out. And finish off this Necrofex, who manages to blow away one of these chariots at point blank, and then the overhead fire from the deck droppers finishes off the last one. But these archers over here are going to be doing some short range shots and just obliterating some of these skirmishers that the coast has. And Necrofex himself is about to get dunked on by Wolfric the Wanderer, who is coming in hot and heavy for a charge. The Bestigor are continuing to advance. The Ungor Raiders have consolidated. Grimgor is running around the back, trying to stay away from this big death ball, but he's getting shot up with a little bit of archer fire. Fimi here going to be running in and making quick work of the coast. So yeah, really the last major engagement here is just finishing up what's left of their forces, mopping up Noctilus and his Necrofex, and then mopping up these Dwarf Lords. Just kind of getting this blob here, and all of my archers are just crested on the hill and firing into this mess, trying to take out some of these Dawi. Fortunately, friendly fire isn't as much of an issue for me because my White Lions do have a pretty solid physical resist, but just look at this pile of corpses on the ground. White Lions and Pure Main just strewn about, and the Bestigor have arrived to support and provide that last little bit of punching power we need to really rout off and crack this little nut that we had here of Dawi. So look at this pile of just mounds of corpses everywhere, just dead bodies all over this pit. Oh man, mass grave of dwarf and elf forces alike. But yeah, that's going to pretty much wrap it up. They managed to take down Noctilus and the Necrofex with Wolfric over there, and then it just comes down to breaking off those Slayers. So yeah, GG, it was a very fun match. We were kind of goofing about a bit, memeing around a little with the 626 thing and Dimmy and his Monster Mash build. But yeah, kills-wise, it was pretty much me versus the Dwarf most of the time. Lariel did a very good job of providing some healing support to my White Lions, keeping them in the fight. The Nobles did a very good job of disrupting the back line, trying to isolate his Rangers and his Bolt Throwers, do a little bit of cycle charging on his Lords. Archer's doing an excellent job. Um, they don't do very well individually against Dawi units because of their high armor. Excuse me, a hiccup. But in a mass like this, you can focus units one at a time, like these Rangers. They're not very heavily armored, and you can take out some artillery crew, things like that. Slayers, very good targets. And once you get blobbed up like we were, they just dump shots in. It provides that leadership debuff, which you desperately need against the dwarves if you're ever going to try and rout them out. And they just continually chip away at things if they're able to get through all their ammo, which, as you can see, most of these guys did. Over here for Dimmy, or not Dimmy, Halcon getting me with the name. Bestigor is doing an excellent job of mopping up a lot of the coast infantry and doing a great work against the Black Orcs. You can see his archers as well, dumping some suppressive fire and doing a very good job. Not really able to get shut down by the opponent. And yeah, it's Bray Shaman doing a very good job as well. For actual DimmyGee over here, you can see his support units did also very well. His Fimir warriors were able to come in and help clean up against the Black Orcs, even though they're great weapon variant, so it's anti-large. They do very, very well with their armor piercing and can help really beat that stuff down. Chariots providing some nice backline disruption. And yeah, Wolfric being a beast, running around breaking some Black Orc blobs. But opponents over here got some decent kills on their infantry. Unfortunately, we were just able to kind of overwhelm them in a lot of situations. The infantry for the coast just did not hold up to the mass Bestigor charge. A lot of the pole arms just completely shattered. So that was a huge loss right off the bat. And then the Greenskins came in to try and break the center of our formation, which they did. Unfortunately, because the coast collapsed so early on, they were not able to really capitalize, and they ended up just kind of surrounded. But GG's all around, and I hope you guys enjoyed. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, whatever you feel like doing. And I'll see you next time.